Hi, it's Dawn from Dawn Dirt. Dirt can mean gardening. Dirt can mean beef. Dirt can mean chickens. Dirt can mean farm to table sales. Dirt can mean politics. Dirt can mean religion. Dirt can mean anything I want it to mean because it's my shows. So welcome here today. Really excited about today's episode. I've got Kadziana, and she has an online farmers market app called Weat Local Market. So welcome to the show today. Super excited to have you.
Thanks for having me, Dawn.
For sure. Okay, so we've met. I've seen your stuff pop through on my social media pages, and you're fantastic and amazing at posting and getting word out there. And so tell us about your app. What are you doing and where are you from? A little bit about yourself. Just give us an introduction here.
Well, thanks so much. I'm from Plamondon, Alberta. That's Northern Alberta, 2.5 hours from Edmonton, between Fort McMurray and Edmonton. It's really remote, really rural. I grew up here. I was born and raised on a third-generation farm. My brothers are the fourth-generation farming, and my kids will be the fifth-generation farming. So we grew up on a cattle grain mixed operation, and I have farming in my blood. It is what we've always done. We're the original entrepreneurs, and I feel like really connected to farming. And my app is a product of something that I wanted to exist. I wanted to be able to connect to local food easier. I wanted to be able to help producers sell their goods to people nearby without having a complicated website to set up or anything like that. So I started building the app and creating the features of the app based on my own experiences and based on the people that I knew that would be using it, the producers. In my biggest desire is that they have a tool to use that they can sell their goods easier and have a bigger opportunity to sell. So I got going with that, and I have been doing that for a few years now. And now we're at a point where we're launched it, and people are on the app, and I'm looking to get the word out for more people to come on and start be part of our community.
Okay, wow. So it's an online app, and so farmers go on and they put their goods on there, and then customers go on, or you're connecting the dots, or how does it work? Like, is it like an
Mm-hmm.
online store, or how does
Yep.
it work?
It's very much an online store. It's a platform on your smartphone. You download the app and you can see what's available nearby. Now, vendors can go on and sign up and list their goods right away, and allows them to accept digital payment, coordinate pickup and delivery of their goods. They make their own listings. They manage their store hours. It's very much like an online store, like picture like a stall at a farmer's market. And so the app is multi-vendor. So you could see all the things available, not just from one vendor, and make purchases from all these vendors at the same time, given that you're in the search area. And that way you can easily see from a quick look on your phone, this is what's available nearby. And it's very much that tool for the vendors to be able to sell their goods to people nearby and maybe get some feedback right away from people. And also expanding the market for a lot of producers so that they can see to sell to people all the time and not just one day of the week, not just the limited seasonal markets that we have. It gives them the opportunity to sell their goods any time of the year.
Okay, I love that. Connecting local food, and so and I'm just going to ask questions because I'm not a real tech person.
Yeah.
So if you go onto the app, so pretend I'm a customer and I go onto the app and I want to buy beef and I want to buy carrots and I want to buy chicken, I can click those things from different farmers and it'll show me the closest ones.
Yeah, actually, so what will happen is you'll open up the app and it'll show you what goods are available nearby, just in like a quick little shopping page. And it'll tell you how far they are away. And then if you choose to buy them, it'll tell you where you pick it up. Or if you want it delivered, if it's available for delivery from that vendor, it'll also be in that shopping page for delivery. So you would go through the transaction and pick what goods you want and then finish your transaction. And then you would connect with your products later that day, unless it's a pre-order item. Sometimes it's a pre-order depending on what type of product it is, and then connect to your product. Usually most of the time it's same day, sometimes a pre-order if needed, but it goes through all that in the transaction, when you would pick up, where you would pick up, when your product would be delivered, etc.
Okay, wow. Man, it's like merging farmers market and like I'm so not a city girl. What's the online city thing where you like get your groceries delivered? Like,
Oh,
um,
Uber Eats or Skip the Dishes. I was going for like the Skip the Dishes for farmers. Like, I just thought this has to exist for farmers. Why couldn't it?
yeah, wow. So you're doing skip the dishes for farmers.
Yeah.
I love it. And
Mhm.
just connecting farm to table. And really this has the potential. I'm all for, so I'm going to get a little like mouthy here. I used to sell to the wholesaler. Back when I had my farm, I used to sell to the wholesaler, my cucumbers to the wholesaler. The wholesaler would sell to the grocery store, mark it up. The grocery store would sell it to the customer, mark it up. And then eventually I cut out the wholesaler and I was going direct to the grocery store. And then that didn't work because of bureaucracy. So then I started cutting out all of the middle guys and I used to only direct market my own products. And so that's kind of what this is just cutting out the grocery system. And it has the potential to change our food system globally. Is it global or is it Canada? Is it North America? Where is it?
It's Canada wide. At this point, we're launched in Alberta, and we have lots of vendors in Alberta and a couple across the country, but it's not populated. So we definitely are rolling out across Canada, and we will make all our efforts to be going into all these different communities, but we have to start in the area we are. So that's where we're at right now, but available Canada wide, and we'll definitely see the opportunity to be all over Canada.
Are you sitting on a farm or homestead that could be making you real money? Tired of guessing on how to market your products? I owned a 36,000 square foot greenhouse. I ran 2 farm to table stores. I had 30 people on payroll. I brought in $2.5 million in gross revenue in 2020, selling farm goods directly to customers. Now I teach farmers and homesteaders how to make money and save money off the land they already have. Whether you're selling eggs, beef, produce, baked goods, or anything in between, if you want to get into direct marketing and grow your sales, I'm the girl for you. Stop leaving money on the table and start putting it into your bank account. Join me at Dawn's Dirt Business Coaching and let's make your farm pay you back. And, I just love it because, again, I've been saying, like, we need to take our food system back into our own hands. And this is a way to do it. It's a way for farmers, big or small. I don't think you don't judge, big, small, big farmer, small farmer, anybody. So anybody can use it. So if they go online and use your platform, they like it's just a way to cut out the system that we currently have and change the system that change the system to be farm to table. And I truly feel the way to our future, the best way to do our food system in the future is to do more farm to table. Farm to table, I think, would actually solve global hunger problems if we're buying food from our local communities and eating seasonally. So this would be a way to do it. And the food that you're going to get on the app, I'm sure, is way more healthy than anything you would buy in a grocery store. Do you have any limitations as to what a farmer can put on there? So let's say I wanted to start making I don't know, cheesy crackers that have like lots of ingredients and preservatives and whatever. Like,
Mhm.
do you have any restrictions on the food that's
No.
going to go onto there?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
No restrictions. We put it back onto the producer to comply with their own regulations in their area. So they need to be, aware of what the regulations are for what they're producing and making sure they comply. We'll do our due diligence as far as making sure it's a legal product. But otherwise, we want all products to be available so that we are empowering the producers. And I don't think that most producers are trying to produce a product that's non-compliant. I think we deserve to be able to sell our products to people without having people involved, regulatories involved. But that's not the case all the time. And so there is that in our terms and conditions, we put it back onto the producers that they comply with their regional requirements.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Because then it's freedom of choice, right? Freedom of
Yeah.
choice for consumer and freedom of choice for the vendor and things like that. Okay, I love it. How about for the consumer? How do they know that they're actually dealing with a farmer? What do you do if I buy a package of beef from, Joe Farmer down the road and it's tough as shit and from an old cow rather than a young steer or whatever? Like, how do you deal with that?
Mhm. Well, we have a process that allows the consumers to do a review of the product. It's similar to what you would see on Amazon. After you buy something, people can review the product. Same idea. They can review the product after they've purchased it. And that alone will take care of a lot of these products that are not as good. But nobody wants to produce bad products. I don't think that's what we're after. I want to empower producers to be able to sell things to people nearby. And it's in our hearts to produce good, healthy food to, especially you're selling to your neighbors and people around you. It's going to come back to you. So nobody's doing that, I don't think. And if they are, it's going to catch up to them in a small town. This is really hyper local. We're talking within 50 to 100 kilometers. You don't want to be shitting where you eat. You don't want to do that. This is your economy, your local economy. So,
I love that. I love that. You don't want to shit where you eat. Perfect. Perfect analogy. I don't want to shit where I eat. And I can speak to that too. So I was a vegetable farmer for many years, and I sold tomatoes or grew tomatoes, grew great tomatoes and sold tomatoes. And I always told my customers, I always said, if you're not happy, I'm not happy. You just got to let me know. And so once in a while, like it's food, it's a perishable item, it's produce. And so sometimes when it would rain, my tomatoes would split open and they'd crack and they go a little moldier faster. And customers would come to me and they'd say, oh, I had that bag of tomatoes and I just want to let you know, but I don't want you to do anything about it. And I would always hand them a new fresh bag of tomatoes because that was my policy. I always told my staff and whoever was at the markets, if we get a breath of complaint, you give out a free bag. That's just the way it is. And I don't care if it was one tomato or 10 tomatoes, you give out the free bag of tomatoes because it's one bag of tomatoes as a replacement of a even slightly unhappy customer is worth 10,000 bags of tomatoes. As a bad, yeah, you just don't want a bad review. You want to make sure that you're building the relationships. And that's what your app is going to do. It's going to build and strengthen the community and the relationship between the farmer and the customer. And so what to me, community is where it's at. So what's your thoughts on community and changing our food system that way?
well, like the app is like that hyper local is really the tag word on this one is we want to sell to people nearby. And it's just a tool to allow people to see what's available nearby. And just from a quick glance on your phone, you can see that. Okay, cool, great. That's really awesome. And then I hope, because it's a platform that you can actually go through the transaction and buy things, make a review. This is how we're connecting to food. And it's right on par with buying your groceries, click and collect. It's right on par with skip the dishes. It's a tool that's relevant and it's going to revolutionize the way we buy local food. It's going to make it easier. It's right for the generations that are buying right now, buying for their families. These are all things that we're already using. It's just evolving the farmers market to a place that's right there in the palm of your hand. And just the way I created this app when I was sitting there breastfeeding my child, all my family's out there at the farmer's market, and I'm there with my child wishing I could see what was there too. And I thought, I'm not the only one doing this right now. I'm not the only one missing out in the world of shopping farmers markets because I'm feeding my child. And that was my reality for the next, it still is. I've been nursing and raising kids for the last 10 years. That's been my reality. That's been how I shop. That's been how I connect to the world, is with my phone from the palm of my hand while I'm doing other things, mothering, So I'm not the only one. And I know that this is a real opportunity for everybody to be able to produce from their phone, produce and sell goods from their phone, shop from their phone, the local products. So I think it's just a matter of getting a lot more vendors on board and showing people that this is a grassroots initiative, that we're here to try and connect the local food to local people, and it will just evolve from there.
Absolutely. I think it's brilliant. Had I met you 2 years ago, I'd have thrown my vegetable farm on there, and you know me, I'm getting back into chickens and eggs, so I should probably throw my chickens and eggs on there and start pumping it out that way. Absolutely. Sign me up.
Uh-huh.
How do we sign me up? Please
Okay.
sign me up. I would like to sign up.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So again, if you're a listener here on Dawn's Dirt and you're wanting to do farm to table sales, or you're already in farm to table sales, and there's lots of farmers market vendors that, you know, I know and hear and things like that. If you want to do this, like, get in touch with Weat Local Market, and let's change the way we do our food. You were speaking to going to the farmer's market. You know, you're telling a story about your baby, feeding your baby, which I love, and missing the market. And there's truth to that. You know, if you didn't go on a certain day at a certain time to pick up your food, you missed your groceries that week. And I found it really interesting too. When I was at farmer's market, I'd go to a farmer's market, and if it was raining, you know, I'd have some less sales, but I needed more sales that day because there was always less people, and I still had to pick the food. I still had all this food that I had to sell. And so this is just a way of having it there all the time. That's brilliant, actually. And
Mhm.
changing with the times. I'm a little slow to change with the times. I don't love technology. I actually don't shop online at all myself. But, you know, if we want to if we want to revolutionize our food system, we got to keep up with current times, and current times is on your smartphones and on your computers and on things like that. Um, and you still get the community from it, because if you do a pickup or a drop off, you're still shaking the hands of the farmer that's growing your food. Another question. Is it just for farm to table, or could someone who is baking bread or making pierogies or doing anything like that, could they join your app as well?
Oh, absolutely. We have different categories. We have them sorted by categories in our app on the shopping pages. You can do handcrafted. So let's say you're like a woodworker and you're making really amazing like cedar planter boxes, or if you are making handmade goods, clothing, repurposing clothing and making it into something else. Yeah, I've got one of my neighbors. She's wonderful. She makes like Russian food. So my background is Russian. And so she makes amazing Russian pirashki. She sells those on a pre-order. So she doesn't have the product, sitting there in her kitchen. She gets an order, she creates it and delivers it next day. So it's freshest, because that's really important to her. So any type of goods that you want to sell direct to consumer are what we're after for producers, to empower them to be able to sell direct to consumer without the middleman, right? So you're not buying from Wheat Local Market. You're buying from the producer using our platform.
Right. Okay. So the tic-tac-tician in me, I'm going to grill you here, because that's what I do. The tic-tac-tician in me goes, okay, so I'm going to use this platform. How much is it going to cost me? Because it's not for free. I'm sure it's not for free, which is fine. I mean, it's
Mhm.
an entrepreneurial thing on your part too. But how much is it going to cost the vendor, so the farmer or the producer, and how much is it going to cost the customer? How does that work? How much off the top is Wheat Local Market going to take? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it's 50%, like, no, thank you.
No, it's not 50%. It's 5% to the vendor is what we take. So we have that digital payment integration built in. It's a secure payment platform called Stripe, and it allows the payment to go through using our payment portal. And that way, each vendor doesn't have to set up a digital payment. They just have to kind of verify their identity, and then they're set up. We make the payment out to them to their bank account. But before we make the payment to their bank account, we take 5%. So that's how much the vendor gets charged to use our platform. But to sign up, to download the app, it's free. To sign up, it's free. To list as many goods as you want, it's free. And we want to keep it that way as long as we can to populate the app. It's really part of our our building stage where we're at right now is getting people on board. So 5% is how much we charge. And that covers our payment portal fees, and then our server costs. And when you're delivering your product as a vendor, you'll also recover a certain amount for a delivery fee, and that's just tacked on top of it, and that's paid out straight to the vendor. We add that so that you're not out of pocket to deliver the goods. And that's just important because, that $5 or $10 to do a delivery, it adds up. And we're business people. We know how that goes. So it's just passed on right to the vendor. We don't take a commission on that. We're only taking a commission on the total cost of your product. And then there's also features there that'll add the GST if it's applicable, whatever it is. So it's kind of an all-in-one to get that. And then from the shopper side, we add a convenience fee of 5%. So in total, we're taking about 10% from both sides and we split it up that way just so it's not all coming from the vendor. I know a lot of markets are built in the way that it's 30%, commission to the vendor. That 30% is quite a lot that's your food dollars. That's really quickly evaporating when you're doing that 30%. So we were really conscious of trying to keep it low at 5%. And I know we could do more, but I'm at a point right now where we're building and we want vendors to come on board. And I hope that that's a really good incentive for people to give it a try. There's very low risk. You're not going to pay me unless you've sold something. And in that case, you're probably celebrating.
Yeah, well, for sure. Because there's no risk. You're right. There's no risk. There's no risk to sign up. And there's only risk, I guess, if you made a sale. And if you made a sale, you made a sale. Like, sounds great. And you're still in charge of the delivery or the pickup or whatever that is. So if you only drive to Calgary, let's say, because I'm in Olds, like if you only drive to Calgary once a week, you can make that day your delivery point or whatever it is. So you're still the one in the driver's seat as the producer.
And you're in contact with these, you're doing the whole order. I'm not doing it for you. Weat Local Market's not doing it for you. They're doing all of it. They're accepting the order. They're coordinating the times for pickups, delivery. They're delivering the product or arranging the meetup points. And it's them.
Okay.
It's just a tool.
Now, I love it. Now, just another question I just had. So let's say you were a large farmer, because I'm just putting myself back in my when I had my farm. So I was a fairly significantly large farmer, and I liked going to farmers markets because it boom, boom, boom. It was a lot of sales in a short time, and I didn't have to navigate each sale individually, like through emails and back and forth and talking, because that takes time. So is your setup point or your pickup point is set. So the order comes in, it's there. You're not having to go back and forth too much with them. It's just all there, and you just show up at that time with their order.
Yep, exactly. Actually, we don't have a chat feature on our app. It's just the consumer will go into the transaction. They'll pick a pickup time, and your pickup location is picked by the vendor. So when you're putting together your listing, you'll put, my pickup point will be, let's say, your farm. And maybe you don't want your farm. You can make it a different location like co-op parking lot. That's cool too. Whatever you like. You put it your pickup point. So when they're going through the transaction, the consumer will see the pickup point, pickup time options, and then it'll go to the vendor for approval. The vendor will say, yeah, I can do that. And then that's it. That's it. That's all. So they're not back and forth and, oh, I got to change my time. Something came up. I'm bailing. But you know what? They've already prepaid the order. So they're on the hook. They're going to show up.
Yeah, man, that it sounds so simple. And as I'm thinking of different apps and online things that I've used in the past, like I've used Square for payment, and I currently do. I've used debit terminals. I've used just different platforms with online farmers market apps and things like that. Like I've done online sales before when I had my farm. This just seems to have it all rolled up into one nice package. Like, it's like you're taking the best of everything and you put it into one app. Like, you are one smart cookie here. and the more I'm sitting here talking to you about it, I know we've chatted in the past before about this a little bit, but the more I'm sitting here learning all the details and asking you the detailed questions here, the more I'm like, yes, this is amazing. Like, Dawn's Dirt is going to endorse this for sure. So yeah, love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and your goal is to go Canada wide and then eventually down into the States. Do you want to do North America first, or how's this going to work? What's your vision?
Okay. Well, big dreams. I'd love to go across Canada. I'm going to translate the app in French. My background, I also have some French. My parents are French and Russian. So, I've got two languages to work with there. But I'm going to translate the app so that it can reach into Quebec and the provinces that are speaking French, so that we cover all of Canada. And then we're going to go south after that. There is a similar app down south. It's, I can't remember the name of it.
That's all right.
We don't need to talk about it.
We don't need to talk about it. We're going to talk about your app on this one. Yeah.
But the goal is to go down south if I can. And then it's just going to be a tool that, anybody could use similarly to like Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats. There's no restrictions for it at that point. Once we have a proven model, we can just roll it out to anywhere that would have farms that want to sell direct to consumer.
Yeah, I love it. You know what? You're like, I was convinced before, but I didn't understand as much. And now that I'm understanding and asking the questions, like, I am fully on board and convinced now. It's just, I think you have the potential of changing the way our world globally does food. And as we get into more and more crazy times, I'll take it back to the toilet. Remember the toilet paper wars in 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the year 2020, people were afraid of the grocery stores. So they didn't want to go into the grocery stores for COVID reasons. My farm and my business, actually, my online business just ballooned in 3 weeks during COVID because I created and had this online store, and I added pickup locations, and I was selling produce like in crazy places that I had never sold it before. Excuse me. Because people were afraid to go to the grocery store and they wanted local. When we saw the grocery store shelves empty out and you couldn't get certain products, people were afraid that they couldn't get their food. And so if you have farmers that have food, and you're connecting them with people that if our system failed ever, if the internet goes down, we're kind of screwed on this one. But even then, you'd still have a relationship with your local farmers. You would know where to go to get food. And I had people saying to me, "You've got food, right?" "Yeah, I've got food. And come on out to the farm if things ever went sideways." And so because yours is so hyper local, even though, yes, it's online, it still is almost foolproof too, because as you build those relationships in your community, you're going to know where Farmer Joe is to be able to go and get his food, regardless of the app or not. And so it's a whole movement that can be, for now, when we have the internet, and hopefully we never not have the internet, and then to be able to move that, if shit really went sideways and
it's about connecting people to each other, really. Like we're really living as such isolated individuals from one another. Our opportunities to connect to one another are limited to maybe if you have an online presence, there's that. I think most people don't invest that much into that because once you have an online store, let's say, you still have to get it out there. And producers are really just busy producing, not selling. It's not something most of them are having very much help with or very much time spent on. So it's about connecting to each other. And we're just using the same tools that the grocery stores are using. We're using the same tools that already exist for all the other industries. We're just doing it for farmers right now, and we deserve it by now.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Like, let's give Costco a run for their money. That's how I'm feeling right now. Like, yeah, for sure. And the product, like typically when you go to a farmer's market, the product that you're getting is going to be of higher quality. And like you said, there's checks and balances and reviews and things like that, but you're going to get a better superior. I know there's a huge difference between the tomatoes I grew and the tomatoes you get in a grocery store. There's a huge difference between the chicken I have and the chicken you buy in a grocery store. Same thing on eggs, farm fresh eggs. Like there is no difference. I was speaking to someone yesterday and they said it's either their farm fresh eggs or no eggs at all because they don't want the other garbage. Right. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's about quality and, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's time that we're able to connect to more quality local ingredients. And we all know, we've seen the statistic of food is healthier when it's closer to where it's produced, right? Most of the food we're buying at the grocery store has traveled thousands of miles to get to the shelves. Thousands of miles, not exaggerating. At least 2,000 miles is how far food is traveling to reach us. And by the time it reaches us, it's not as healthy as it was. It's fresh, healthiest, and when it's freshest at 24 to 48 hours. After that, it declines in nutritional value. So we're talking about, yes, revolutioning the way we buy food, but also having access to healthier food. Healthier food is important. We already have such nutrient depleted soils that our foods are not as nutritious as they used to be 100 years ago, but now we're buying food off the shelves that is, basically fillers, and we deserve better. If we could really get this off the ground and get people buying locally from people nearby, it not only empowers the producers, it empowers the consumers to have healthier food. It's a whole movement. It's really like, it's going to change a lot. And I really I'm hopeful for that.
Hey friends, on Dawn's Dirt, we get real about growing food, farming, homesteading, living free, and digging into the stuff that actually matters. If you're loving the dirt we're dishing out, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on your favorite social media platforms. That's how we keep growing this community of badass, soil-covered, chicken-loving, freedom-chasing humans. Like and subscribe to me on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. Come be part of the movement. I preach it here, sister, because, back in the day, you had your baker and you had your butcher and you had your candlestick maker and you had all these little shops in your town, in your local small town, and you were able to get what you needed in your local small town, and it was fresh. I went into a grocery store the other day and I went to go buy some buns. And I was trying to find the best buns that they possibly had. And there was no option of in-store baked buns. It was all buns that were brought in off a truck. And when you read the ingredients list, like those buns are not going to go bad. They're going to sit on your counter and never get a lick of mold on them because there were so many preservatives in them. And I'm like, this is gross. Like back in the day, you went to your baker and you got a fresh loaf of bread that if you didn't eat it, went bad on your counter a couple days later. You actually got mold on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what this is doing is it's bringing back the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker back into our system so that we're not having to go to a grocery store to buy that unmolding shit and you can buy the loaf of bread because if you don't have time to make a loaf of bread, let's face it, we're busy. Like I don't have time to bake a loaf of bread all the time. So I could go to my neighbor and buy a loaf of bread from them. And that's, it's going to go moldy and I'm going to be happy with that. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we remember like when we're producing, everybody has, you don't have time to produce every single thing that you eat. Buying from each other is how we support one another. And it's a circular economy at that point. We're supporting them. They'll come and buy some of our goods. So it's a circular economy that we're trying to encourage. I think that we've been trying to do for a long time, but there's just hasn't been enough visibility in the market for us to be able to do that and to really access those markets. And so, that statistic of like for every dollar you spend within your community, a certain percentage comes back. I think it's like 60 or 80% comes back. So we should be doing that, not spending our money on like Superstore, Amazon and those types of things. And I wanted to add something. When we were talking about like the candlestick maker, the butcher, the bread maker, all that, some of the goods makers that I have since said like, oh, could you get shipping in here? And my answer is no. Like, I don't want you guys to have to ship your product. We're talking about Canada Post shipping and all the delays that go along with that. It's $30 for a small item to ship. Your order is $30. And then you're shipping it. We're not talking about hyper local at that point. We need to get away from thinking we have to serve everybody outside of, this extended area. We can serve just our immediate local community and that be enough. And if it's not, my app also features like a way for you to take pre-orders in other communities. You can change your location and market your goods there just by changing your location, your geographic store location. You just do a quick little update, and then your product is shown to those people if you're going to be traveling to that area or something like that. And so you don't have to worry about the cost of shipping it. Maybe you're traveling there for other business and you're going to do a pickup location there. Like you had mentioned that was one way you got, more traction and more market that way is to go to other locations. So there's ways for you to do that, but I would never encourage a vendor to do shipping. It's the worst idea ever for your business. You're taking a loss, and then let's say something gets lost in the mail, then you're covering the cost of that to ship it a whole nother time. No, thank you. Just no thanks.
For sure. And I look at this and I think what an opportunity. It's a really great opportunity for more people to become producers. So Dakota Cohen, I don't know if you know him, but Dakota Cohen, he says that everyone should be a producer. Not everyone should be a farmer, but everyone should be a producer. And if everyone is doing what they can, so maybe you're really good at baking bread and the next person's really good at making pierogies and the next person's got beef and the next person's got vegetables and the next person's got, whatever those items can be, but you can even be in a town and be a producer. And I've been to Cuba many, many times. Cuba's a communist country. But the part that I love about Cuba the most is the black market, actually. They are all bartering and trading and doing things amongst each other, and they know where to get this and they know where to get that in their own system that they've built aside from the government. And with your system, everyone is able to become a business owner. Everyone is able to become a producer. And I think the way we're headed in society with our governments and bureaucracy and bullshit, I really feel that everyone needs to become a producer. Start your own small business with whatever goods and service that you have. You can become a producer yourself, and then you're bartering and trading and working within your communities and strengthening your communities. And what a better way to live. When I think of a $50 bill, if I were to pay you for pierogies, I'm going to pay you that $50 bill. You're going to take a little bit off that bill, but you're not going to, send it to the bank and things like that. You're going to take that $50 bill. It's going to be a $50 bill, and you're going to pay the next person, and they're going to pay the next person, and they're going to pay the next person. But it still is a $50 bill. I just think it just has such a way to keep it into our pockets and out of the pockets of greedy bureaucrats at the tops, in the banks, in the systems, in the government, in the whatever. I'm as you can tell, I'm very anti-government. I mean, we need a little bit. I like the cops, and we need a little bit of things, roads, and there's some services we need, but we need less government bureaucracy and control, and we need to bring it back to our local butcher, baker, and candlestick maker.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be nice to empower producers and have less of the bureaucracy involved in our food. I feel that way. It's been like this for a long time. I don't expect change overnight, but I do think that there are things that we can do. And so we start there. And as long as we can start and build on that, they might check to see that we're okay, that we're doing it right. But let's just start there, and we'll just keep building on it. We'll be better off. And like you said, just making those connections in our community, that's what's most valuable in this case. Like, we're just trying to connect to each other to know what each other is making, so that like if stuff hits the fan, we know where to get beef. We know where to get flour. We know where to get, stuff from each other, local greens, local goods. And it's just a matter of building that community.
Well, and it really is a way for a very brand new small business owner, even out of their home or out of their basement, to start their business on a very small scale. And it's easy. Like, if you can bake a loaf of bread, you can put your loaf of bread on your store, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
it's about the product. It's not about the, hoops that you need to jump through.
Yeah.
You still need to follow your local, like you said, you still need to follow your local authority and things like that. But yeah, that's on the producer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any small vendor of any kind can really jump on the app with very low risk. You're not having to sign up and have a membership or anything like that. You just sign up and see how it goes. And farmers markets typically are where most people go to test drive their product to see if it's a viable product. And so you can do that without even leaving your home with my app. You can see if there's a market for your loaf of bread. See if there's a market for your home-baked pie. See if there's a market for that. See if people want to buy it before you invest anymore. And then you kind of just keep building your business around how many sales you get, the feedback you get, and then you just keep pivoting as you need to keep building your business. And I think it's a good way for anybody, small or really large, to come on board. And some of the larger producers, the feedback I've gotten is like, I don't have time to market. I don't have time to even list my goods. Some are really like, I just don't even have time to sit down and put my goods on there. So I said, okay, great. I will help you. We have support that we can get your products listed there to help your sales, if that's what it is. Because right now everybody's in the thick of it. We're in harvest season. We're in gardening harvest season. So, we do offer help for that, for those bigger producers or producers just needing an extra hand to get onboarded.
For sure. Man, I love this. I'm actually going to mention it to my daughters. My daughters were sitting around the table last night chatting about, they've always got business ideas. They're their mama's daughter. And so they've got this business idea and that business idea. So I'm going to chat with them later about it. And I'm going to say, this is a way to start your business with low risk, right? You can just do it right out of our home and put it online, and low risk. And so absolutely. So we just got to spread the word. So help us out. If you're listening today, help us out, spread the word, get your farms and get the producers signed up. If you're listening and you just want to buy from local, and local means something to you, like, sign up and become a customer of this. And we the people have the power to change our world. And here it is. Weat Local Market, Don's Dirt, and you, the listeners. We will revolutionize our food system. I love it. Any last final thoughts as we roll off here?
No, just thank you so much for having me. And I hope that we can grow our local food economies and our local communities just by connecting to each other using this app. And I'm looking forward to hearing from more people. And thanks so much.
For sure. Absolutely. And I will tell you now, Don's Dirt is going to go and tell the world about it. Because, just sitting down here and talking to you about it here for the last 40 minutes that we've been chatting, it's been so good and such a positive thing. And I fully understand it now. And let's go change our worlds. Thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dawn.
Yeah, for sure.